mentioned the lessons of World War II, right? We were capable of violence. Hitler was capable of violence, but we were not the same as Hitler.
Right.
There was an imperative for us to defeat him at almost any cost, and we did horrible things in that war. But people understand that there was a good side and there was an evil side.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if you or most of your listeners feel this way about Israel, but I do. I think that in this situation, Israel is the good guy and Hamas is the evil guy. I think some people feel Hamas is just acting like anyone would if you had taken their land, and their freedom fighters that go a little bit overboard. I don't think that's what they are. I think they are a death cult that really believes what they write in their charter in the late 80s, that they want to annihilate every single Jew in Israel and replace it with an Islamic State and eventually have a state like ISIS. And that what they did on October 7th with the barbaric slaughter, that's the point for them. That is what they want to do to all of Israel. And the difference is that Israel, though like the American army, it's like there's been many excesses, much to criticize. If Israel wanted to annihilate Hamas and the Palestinians the same way Hamas wants to annihilate Israel, Hamas would be gone and there would be no Palestinians in Gaza. We know that Israel could obliterate them overnight. Why don't they? Well, for mixed reasons, but because they don't want to. They want to live in peace fundamentally. And so I don't think the two sides are equivalent here, though they're both capable of that universal among humans, which is cruelty. I don't think these two sides are the same. I really think this is a situation where there is a good guy and a bad guy.
What solution could possibly be created that would somehow or another calm this down at this point? After that attack, it's so horrifying. But then the response is horrifying too, where who knows how many civilians have died in Gaza.
Yeah.
So we're terrified of both. And then there's this narrative that, what was the thing with the hospital?
Oh, yeah. So this has been going on the past 48 hours. Basically what happened is the entire media, the Gaza Health Ministry, which is run by Hamas, said that Israel just bombed a hospital and killed 500 people. The entire media ran with this story. New York Times, BBC, everyone said 500 killed in Israeli airstrike on hospital. And obviously this is monstrous if so, right? Why would Israel bomb a hospital? Israel is known to have at least a policy of not bombing hospitals because Israel feels that it wants to generally respect what a war crime is, right? That's the policy at least. So this went viral. Then it turned out, actually, most likely, it actually turned out 100% the hospital wasn't bombed. It was the parking lot next to the hospital. So that was the first inaccuracy in the story. Then it turned out it's very, very unlikely to be an Israeli airstrike and was almost certainly not a Hamas rocket, but a Palestinian Islamic Jihad. This is the other Palestinian terror group in Gaza. They launched a bunch of rockets. One of them was a dud and landed in the hospital parking lot. And this is on video. Al Jazeera showed the video by accident, and that's how it's part of how it's been confirmed.
What do you mean by accident?
So they were showing this in real time. I think it happened at like 6:59 exactly. It's either 6:49 or 6:59. They were showing live footage of, or footage they had just taken of a bunch of rockets leaving the Gaza Strip to go to Israel, and one of the rockets, you could see it was screwy. It kind of blew up, and then you see a big explosion in Gaza right at that time. Turns out that's the exact time the hospital allegedly blew up. So that's how they knew it was a rocket from inside, an accidental rocket from inside Gaza, rather than the Israelis airstriking it. So then all the New York Times, BBC, they all started slowly changing their headlines from 500 killed in Israeli airstrike to 500 killed in blast to, at this point they may be saying parking lot next to hospital killed only 50 to 100 people. This is still an evolving story, and we're talking on Thursday. So by the
So
time
it didn't
this
actually
episode,
hit the hospital itself. It hit the parking lot next to the hospital and
That's-
did damage to the hospital.
the latest is that the hospital's still standing, and it was only the parking lot next to the hospital, and a bunch of cars may have exploded as well.
So
That's the latest. Because they have pictures now. The next day they took pictures in the hospitals there.
I thought they
And the
had
parking.
photos of the hospital that was bombed out.
The New York Times, when they reported it first, they showed a picture of a different place in Gaza that was destroyed
Oh
by an
my
Israeli
God.
airstrike, not the hospital.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So this is now, I think there's an emerging consensus that it was a parking lot, probably not 500 people, probably more like 50 or 100, which is, again, tragic. Every life is tragic. But that basically the legacy media took Hamas's word as fact and then has had to backpedal.
Did you see the Babylon Bees joke about that?
So this
New
is-
York Times patiently awaiting Zoom call from Hamas to see what they should print today.